Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'd love it if you could leave a comment letting me know where you're listening from around the world. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this video. Story 1. I worked the graveyard shift at a gas station on a dead stretch of highway. One of those places that barely gets business, except for the occasional trucker or some poor lost soul looking for directions. Most nights, it's just me, the buzzing of the overhead lights, and the hum of the refrigerators. I used to like the quiet. Not anymore. Not since last month. It happened at 2:37 a.m., like clockwork. The time is burned into my brain. I don't even need to check the clock anymore. I just feel it in my bones. I was halfway through stocking cigarettes behind the counter when I heard the door chime. I looked up, expecting the usual, a bleary-eyed driver, maybe a drunk coming in for a snack. But it was him, tall, gaunt, dripping wet. At first, I thought he had just come in from the rain, but there was no rain. The roads outside were bone dry. His clothes didn't look right either. Faded, outdated, like something pulled out of an old suitcase forgotten in an attic. And then there was his face. His skin was pale, almost gray, stretched tight over sharp cheekbones. His hair hung in wet clumps over his forehead, but it was his eyes that made my throat go dry. Milky white, not like a blind man's, just wrong. I swallowed hard and forced a greeting. Hey, can I help you? Nothing. He didn't even blink. He just walked. No, glided to the back of the store, past the rows of chips and candy, and stopped at the drinks fridge. He didn't open it. Didn't even move. Just stood there, staring. I kept my eyes on him, trying to convince myself this was just some weirdo passing through. I've seen plenty of those, but there was something about him that made the air feel too thick. 5 minutes passed. Then, without warning, he turned, slow, deliberate, and then he smiled. It was the kind of smile that shouldn't be possible. His lips stretched too wide, his teeth too many, too small, too sharp. My stomach flipped. Every muscle in my body told me to run, but I couldn't. I was frozen, locked in place like a bug pinned to a board. My fingers curled around the edge of the counter, nails pressing into the cheap laminate. That's when I noticed the security monitor above the register. I glanced at it, just for a second, and my blood turned to ice, because the screen showed the inside of the store, just like it should have. But the man wasn't there. The drinks fridge stood empty. The aisles were empty. The store was empty, except for me. My breath hitched. I jerked my head back up. He was closer. No sound, no movement, just closer. A few feet away now, his too wide smile still plastered on his face. I scrambled backward, my hips slamming into the register. My breath was coming too fast, my vision tunneling. The bell over the door jingled behind me. I turned so fast I nearly fell over. A trucker had walked in, heavy boots thudding against the tile. I latched onto the sight of him like a lifeline. When I looked back, the man was gone, vanished, like he had never been there. The trucker must have seen the look on my face because he stopped mid-step, frowning. You all right, kid? I wanted to tell him everything, but the words wouldn't come. My throat felt like it had been stuffed with cotton. I nodded. Yeah, I'm fine. He gave me a look but didn't press. Just grabbed a coffee and left. I was alone again. I checked the security footage. The camera had glitched at 2:37 a.m. A full 2 minutes of static. When it came back, I was alone. The man never appeared. I didn't sleep that day. The next night, I came in feeling sick, but I told myself it was just my imagination. A hallucination, maybe stress. Then, at 2:37 a.m., the drink's fridge opened on its own. The air turned cold, not like a draft, not like the AC kicking on. This was different. It was wrong. And then I heard it. Footsteps. Slow. Wet. Slap. 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 I gripped the counter, heart hammering. I could feel him, even though I couldn't see him. I squeezed my eyes shut, and then a whisper, right behind my ear. See you tomorrow. I ran. I don't remember leaving the store. I don't remember getting in my car. The next thing I knew, I was home, curled up in the shower with the water running scalding hot, trying to burn away the cold that had settled in my bones. I called in sick the next day, and the next. But the gas station doesn't like when people miss shifts. They called. They threatened to fire me. And like an idiot, I went back. It's been a month now, and I've learned something. He never left. Every night, at 2:37 a.m., the fridge door opens. The cameras glitch, and the air goes cold. I never see him anymore, but I hear him. The slow, wet footsteps in the aisles. The whisper just behind my ear. And sometimes, just for a second, I catch a glimpse of a milky white reflection in the drink fridge glass. Still smiling, still waiting, because he knows. I can't leave either. Story 2. It was a slow night. Graveyard shift at the gas station always was. Just me, the hum of the coolers, and the occasional trucker stopping in for gas and bad coffee. The kind of quiet that stretches too long, makes your mind wander places it shouldn't. I was scrolling through my phone when the door chime rang. She walked in fast, like she was being chased. Late 30s, maybe early 40s. Her hair was soaked with sweat, sticking to her forehead and neck. Her clothes were wrinkled and dirty, like she had slept in them for days. But it was her eyes that got me. Wide, wild, like an animal cornered in a dark alley. She didn't look around, didn't hesitate. She just marched straight up to the counter and gripped it so tight her knuckles turned white. He's outside. That's all she said. I frowned, glancing past her to the parking lot. The lot was empty, just my car and the flickering streetlights. A moth buzzed against the glass. "Oh," I asked, my voice uneasy. She didn't answer. Instead, she dug in her pocket and pulled out something small and faded. A Polaroid photo. She slid it across the counter with shaking fingers. I picked it up, and my stomach lurched. It was a picture of her, maybe 20 years younger, standing next to a man who looked exactly like me. Same face, same build, same damn birthmark under the left eye. I felt my throat tighten. "You know me," she whispered, her voice trembling. "You know me, don't you?" I didn't. I swear to God I didn't. I shook my head, placed the photo back on the counter like it was toxic. "I think you've got the wrong guy." Tears welled up in her eyes. She blinked fast, shook her head like she couldn't believe what she was hearing. Then the automatic doors slid open behind her. A gust of wind rushed in, carrying the scent of something foul, rotting, sour, old. The woman's face drained of color. She turned slowly, her breath hitching in her throat. "He's here." I didn't see anyone, just the dark, empty lot stretching into the night. The streetlights flickered again. I felt my pulse hammer in my throat. I took a step back, suddenly feeling too exposed under the fluorescent lights. "Ma'am, I don't see." The lights went out. The hum of the cooler stopped. The store plunged into a thick, suffocating blackness. I stood frozen, heart thudding in my ears. Somewhere in the dark, something shifted. I couldn't hear the woman anymore. No breathing, no movement. I forced myself to speak. "Hello?" No answer. The security monitor flickered. A burst of static. Then, through the gray, distorted screen, I saw something. A figure, tall, thin, standing just inside the doorway. I squinted, my breath catching. It was hard to make out details, but its limbs seemed too long, its head tilted at an unnatural angle. And then it moved, not like a person, more like a glitch in a video. Then 1 second, closer the next. The screen cut to static again. A deep, suffocating silence filled the store. Then the lights flickered back on. The woman was gone. The automatic doors were still shut. I spun around, scanning the aisles, the corners, the bathroom door. Nothing. She had just vanished. But something was different. The Polaroid was still on the counter, and there was something new in the picture. Behind my younger self and the woman was a shadowy figure. The same shape I had seen on the monitor. My blood ran cold. I grabbed the photo with shaking hands, turned it over. There was a date scribbled on the back. June 13th, 1998. I wasn't even born yet. I don't remember quitting. I don't remember driving home. But the next morning, when I woke up, the Polaroid was in my pocket. I burned it. But sometimes, when I drive past that gas station late at night, I swear I see her standing beyond the pumps, her eyes locked on mine, waiting, because I think, somehow, she knows I remember now. Story 3. I work alone at a 24-hour gas station in a dead part of town. You know the kind. One flickering street light, cracked pavement, an old soda machine outside that's been out of order for as long as I've worked here. It's the kind of place where time doesn't move right, where you feel like if you look up at the sky, the stars might be in the wrong places. Most nights, I kill time scrolling through my phone, watching the clock tick down till my shift ends. Nothing much happens. Just the occasional trucker, the local drunks, and the long stretches of silence that make you start noticing sounds you shouldn't. But last Friday night, something changed. Something I can't explain. It was 3 a.m. on the dot when the security alarm beeped. Motion detected at pump 3. I glanced at the monitor. No car, no person, just a shadow, long and stretching across the pavement, reaching toward the store like it had fingers. Too tall to belong to anyone human. Too thin, too wrong. I frowned, leaned forward. There was no light source to cast it. No headlights. No figure standing there, just a shadow, twitching like it was trying to move. A cold, greasy fear slid down my back. I clicked to another camera angle. Same thing, just the shadow, shifting like it was alive. And then I saw it. Its head started turning, not fast, slow, like it had all the time in the world. And it was turning toward me. I bolted upright, heart pounding. My first thought, someone was messing with me. Maybe a trick of the light, maybe a prank. But then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I hesitated before looking. My hands were suddenly ice cold. A text message. Why did you lock the door? I felt my stomach lurch. I hadn't locked the door. Not yet. But as soon as I read those words, my body moved on instinct. I lunged for the deadbolt and threw it shut. I turned back toward the pumps. The shadow was gone, but there was something new. A handprint on the glass of the station door. Huge. The fingers were too long, stretching almost halfway down the glass. The print looked smeared, like whatever had left it had been pressing hard from the inside. Then the lights flickered. A hum filled the air, deep and electric. My vision blurred for a second, and the store went black for exactly 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. When the lights came back on, my stomach dropped. The handprint was still on the door, but now it was on the inside. I grabbed the station phone and dialed 911 with shaking fingers. The dispatcher picked up, asked me what was wrong. I barely had the words to explain it. There's someone here. Something. I don't know. Please just send someone. I didn't tell them about the shadow. Didn't tell them about the handprint moving. Even as I spoke, I felt stupid, like I was slipping into a place I wasn't supposed to go. The cops arrived 20 minutes later. They found nothing. No footprints. No signs of forced entry. The security system showed no break-in. And yet, when I checked the footage the next morning, I saw something I wish to God I hadn't. At exactly 3:03 a.m., a figure, a dark, crawling thing, emerged from the ground beneath pump 3. Not climbed out, not walked out. It came up through the concrete like it wasn't solid. It rose slowly, its shape warping, bending like a thing made of tar and hunger. It turned toward the gas station, toward the camera, and then it smiled, not with a mouth, not with teeth. The whole shape of it rippled, stretched like it was grinning just for me. Then it faded, melted into the ground. Gone. I quit that night. I don't drive past the station anymore. If I can help it, I don't even think about it after dark. But sometimes when I wake up in the middle of the night, my phone buzzes. Unknown number. A single text. Look outside. I never do.